Oh, what a day it is right here in Ocala, Florida. I'm Jonathan Morris Schwartz, and thank you very much to all of you who are tuning in to the Jonathan Morris Schwartz program, My Manic Brain, Sex, Politics, and Everlasting Life, on YouTube, audio podcast on Google, iTunes, and wherever podcasts are received, including Spotify now. Today is Thursday, the 25th of March, 2021. This is episode 15 of the Jonathan Morris Schwartz podcast, and I would like to begin with a warning of sorts. Today is an R-rated podcast. I want to say that twice. Today's podcast includes explicit language, explicit descriptions of sexual behaviors, thoughts, ideas, controversies. It's very important for me to be clear on three things. Number one, I don't believe everything I'm saying or writing. Some of it is for the effect of eliciting a provocative response or comment. I want to be clear on that. I am not writing or discussing today pure, real-life, true nonfiction. There is a healthy dose of fiction and creative writing in today's episode. Number two, generally speaking, I have three baskets of creativity that I like to share. And for those of you, the numbers are low. It's between 50 and 100 viewers and readers of my Substack newsletter. I'm particularly excited about the Substack newsletter. I again want to thank Debbie. She'll know who she is. I won't use last names because I don't want to embarrass people. Tanya, Andrea, Michael. These are people who, in their busy lives, don't have to read or listen to me, but they do. And I am very thankful, and they share it. And it means a lot to me because I do this for my own joy and pleasure. But anyone who creates anything, I mean, going back to elementary school when you made that collage out of your handprints and leaves and brought it home, and your mother said, "It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen," and the truth is it was garbage. But to you it was special, and to your mother it was special. And for me, this is an exercise in joy, and I'm honored to the extent that anyone can get some pleasure or provocative thought or joy out of my creative endeavors. So thank all of you. If you enjoy what you're hearing, or you want more, or you want to share it, you can go to Substack. If you're reading Substack, it would help to put your email in. There's no cost. It's free. Everything is free. I'm a free guy. All of my material is free. The only area, and this is number three, so let me get to that. Number three is I divide my social writing, commentary, and expressions into three baskets. The first is the Substack newsletter, and that's PG-13. I consider that a publication as you would a magazine or a newspaper. If I'm going to say a bad word like fuck or shit, I'm going to put an asterisk in the U and in the F word, or I'm going to put an asterisk. And I try not to do that, but if I do. Now, in this day and age, we've come a little bit from George Carlin's 7 words. Those 7 words are still something I avoid on Substack. And frankly, usually on YouTube and in the podcast, because I know children are sometimes listening. But the word bullcrap, bullshit, horseshit, and even shit have become accepted to the point now where even the cable news channels, MSNBC, CNN, occasionally their anchors, when they want to be super cool, will throw out a shit here and there. And so I may let a few of those fly, but for the most part, I try to avoid language that is of an R-rated or vulgar level, except for today. So I want to say again, if you are listening to this podcast with younger children or children of an age that you feel you would rather not hear explicit language, or sexually graphic descriptions, please either do not listen at all or listen with headphones or earbuds or at a time when you're not with younger children. This is for adults only. All right. Today's show is Jonathan Morris Schwartz's lists. This is my way of sharing over the past few months several lists of ideas, many of which are controversial or designed to elicit responses, designed to make you say, does he really believe that? Is he crazy? He's full of shit. Most of which I, on some level, believe in, but it's my inner voice. It's that voice inside of you that wants to tell the truth. You know, like the movie Liar, Liar with Jim Carrey, where imagine if there was a day where you were forced to tell the truth. So, hey, do you like my shirt? When someone asks you, you say, no, it sucks. It's ugly. You're ugly, whatever. You know, we're conditioned not to speak our inner truth. There's that little voice that edits the real voice. Today, I'm letting the real voice out more than usual. So, book of lists. Now, I want to be clear also that if you like this kind of thing, my R-rated material is the only thing that costs some money. It's very inexpensive. But on Amazon.com, if you search out Jonathan Morris Schwartz, My Manic Brain, Sex, Politics, and Everlasting Life, you can just put in Jonathan Morris Schwartz, My Manic Brain. Any keywords will get you there. For 99 cents, I have an ebook out that is RX rated. It's that inner voice that I speak of unleashed to the maximum. And if you want an actual book, the book itself, My Manic Brain, is $6.98. And if you have Prime, there's no shipping. And it usually comes in a couple days. But that's only if, and those are for adults, and that's if you wish to have some unfiltered X-rated stuff. So here we go. Now, the first list I had shared before, and I'm going to share it one more time because I've been married twice. I've been divorced twice. I've discussed that in prior shows. First marriage was to a wonderful, beautiful woman from Portugal. She moved back to Portugal. The second was a Filipino woman married for 12 years, had a lovely daughter with. And then I did have a serious girlfriend for almost 4 years. And that's pretty much the extent of what I would consider my long-lasting loves. I've had, like most of you, some relationships that were short-lived. I had to spin around the carousel of dating with Match.com and a little bit of Tinder and Plenty of Fish and OkCupid and all of them for a little while. I gave that up a couple years ago when and that'll be another show. And I've discussed that a little bit too. But the serious relationships and marriages and divorces and such were 3. And I want to be clear first to those 3 who may or may not be listening that as I make these lists, I want to be clear, this is my inner, unfiltered, unvarnished, sort of rebellious, kick-ass voice exploring, to some extent, the dark side. But, so while there's a grain of truth, there's also a lot of comedic provocation designed to be injected in every one of these lists. First list, here are 10 reasons why marriage is a mental illness. We are animals, and animals want, some say need, to flirt, and when the occasion presents itself, engage in sex with more than one person their entire lives. Self-control? Ha 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 ha. But if you really love someone, you will only desire them. Trying to squelch temptation is like swearing off chocolate cake, or coffee, or marijuana, or butterflies, or rainbows, or any other joy of being alive. Sure, you can muster self-control, but it is not natural, and you will either succumb or sleep with someone else, or spend your life wishing you did. Number 2, who in their right mind thinks it's healthy for 2 people to swear before God that they will only be devoted, love, honor, cherish, remain loyal to only either person until death do they part? People change over time. Roles no longer cemented with the man going to work and the woman cleaning house and baking cookies for 50 years. So if there's cheating or domestic abuse or financial incompatibility or severe debility or simply a growing apart, the only way out is going through an oftentimes expensive, humiliating legal procedure where lawyers and judges get to decide what, where, when, and if there's a way out. Without that silly piece of paper, if things do not work out or you both go your separate ways, you're done, period. Number 3, fantasy never lives up to reality. Number 4, there is no evidence married people are better parents, than non-married ones. Number 5, half of marriages end in divorce. Number 6, the other half dream about it. Number 7, after the honeymoon phase, many couples enter a strange self-delusional state, whereas they go through the marriage motions, but are really lying, cheating, and stealing like drunken sailors. Number 8, only the bride enjoys the wedding. Everyone else bears and grins it. Number 9, I dare you from a reasonable distance to tell the difference between a $100 cubic zirconia and a $10,000 real diamond. And number 10, drumroll please, there is no such thing as the joining of two souls. We are individuals with unique dreams and goals and desires. No promise or legal document or multi-tiered cake, no matter how delicious, will change that. That's the first list. Moving on to the second list, I would like a brief caveat because I have so many friends and my own family who have been in wonderful lifelong relationships and marriages for 20, 30, 40, 50 years with ups and downs, and I honor and cherish those people with those relationships, and I do not mean any disrespect as I read these lists to those who are doing it, who are fighting for their love, who are fighting for monogamy, who are fighting for that soul-connecting, life-sustaining relationship and love. It does happen. It can happen. I believe it can. I am still someone who is open to lifelong love, even at the tender young age of almost 55. So please understand, this is just one side of the coin. List number 2. This has to do with, since the meaning, purpose, and reality of monogamous sex has irreparably changed, here in modern times might be a new menu of relationship options here in the year 2021 going forward. Number 1, traditional marriage. Date, commit, put a ring on it. Hope it takes years, not months, before you need to conjure up an image of the pool boy to have an orgasm. Get just fat enough to ingest the precise number of drugs and alcohol to both not care when the honeymoon stage ends and to delude yourself when you smell the foreign perfume or cologne on your spouse's clothing. Number 2, open marriage or relationship. Simple. Agree intellectually that underneath it all, we are all animals, and having sex for life with one person is unrealistic. Have approved affairs, group sex, orgies, and pretend it is just physical and that your relationship is deeper, spiritual, and more meaningful than all that. Spend at least one day a week looking in the mirror, practicing a shocked and mortified facial expression. That would be it. So you can conjure it up when your spouse tells you they did not mean to fall in love with one of their sex buddies and leaves you. Number 3, jumping Jack or Jill. Forget fairy tales. Accept every relationship you will ever have will follow a variation of the same trajectory. First glance, sustained eye contact, heart palpitation, rush of mutual attraction, down and dirty, blow your mind sex, boredom, hurt feelings, and finally another first glance. Rinse and repeat until you die. Jumping Jack and Jill. And number 4, alone. Fuck it all. Love yourself. Masturbate a lot. Take yourself to Disney World. Don't masturbate in Disney World, at least in public. Go to the aquarium if you're near one. Have dinner for one. Simply love you. As we move along to the next wonderful list, strategy happiness. We got a few on how to be happy, how to not be happy. This is strategy happiness. Here are several strategies you can employ to increase your chances of having your cake, eating it, and retaining a sincerely happy life. Number 1, sex is sex. No matter how scary or potentially painful the thought of someone who's given you their heart, soul, and private parts cheating on you sexually can be, the only thing more stressful is worrying about it to the point of pathological anxiety disorder. Assume at some point your soulmate is going to spread their legs or thrust their midsection with someone other than you. Perhaps it will never happen, but you will never really know for certain. So try to convince yourself it will happen. If or when it does happen, what you do with the betrayal is your personal choice. If you want to stay and work things out, fine. If you cannot get over it and need to break up or divorce, that is fine too. If you vacillate endlessly between staying and going, it's your life. But be clear-eyed, know thyself, listen to your friends and family, and create the life you both wish, Joseph Campbell, to live. But do not underestimate creating the life you need to live. Number 2, getting to know yourself. No one who hates themselves can be happy. Of course, we all hate aspects of us, but you must either discover or create aspects of yourself you generally enjoy and like. That inner voice must get along with the person you see in the mirror. This is about as Oprah as I'm going to get, but it's 100% fact that you cannot be happy without loving yourself and enjoying individual pursuits. We came in this glorious pit of tears alone, and we will go out alone. Do not be afraid to hold your own hand. Number 3, never give up on humanity. There's over 7 billion people standing on this floating asteroid. There's bound to be a few billion for whom you are compatible. Each day of your life has a definable beginning, middle, and end. Each day is a mini lifetime. Of course, an intoxicating romantic fling can rock your world, but do not underestimate the 2 or 6 or 100 deep, meaningful, trusting, and loving friendships in your life. As you grow older, you might find the most joy in those who seem to genuinely love you. Those who would visit you in the hospital or nursing home. Those who think of you and miss you when you are gone. Never give up on humanity. Never. Number 4, lower your expectations. Materialism can only take you so far. Billionaires suffer from at least as much, if not more, mental health issues and depression, despite having more Lamborghinis, mansions, yachts, and private islands than you would think anyone would need to be happy. Be smart, study, work hard, do everything you can to make enough money to have a comfortable life. Be generous, but know you can be genuinely satisfied and complete without endless baubles, bangles, and beads. For my religious friends, what would Jesus do with a bling-covered Rolex and a Gulfstream G650 private jet? Moving right along, the next list. You're not the boss of me. 10 objective physiological signs you are experiencing a genuine attraction to another human being. Number 1, heart racing. Change in breathing, as in they took my breath away. Number 2, for men, a raging boner. For women, a raging female boner. Number 3, an instant desire to touch or kiss or make love to the person. Number 4, after the initial attraction, your brain replays any actual interaction in your head a million times. In other words, they said hello. Did they say hello? Did they say hello? Did they say hello? You read into the hello when it's, sometimes a hello is just a hello. Number 5, you literally dream about them. Number 6, you make love to them and want to do it again. Number 7, you arrange your life in a deluded attempt to randomly bump into them again. Number 8, you think you love them before having the slightest idea of who they are. Number 9, you tell anyone who will listen. Number 10, you masturbate to fantasies about doing things to them and with them that will never happen. 10 things that go wrong once mutual attraction is established. Number 1, in between mind-blowing sex, nothing. Number 2, they are too bossy. Number 3, they are not bossy enough. Number 4, they are too indecisive. Number 5, they are not decisive enough. Number 6, they have annoying habits like eating or breathing or laughing or snoring. Number 7, they are too controlling. Number 8, they are not controlling enough. Number 9, they want your money. Number 10, you want their money. That was a good list for us as we move on to sex is hilarious. This would be the point where, if you've let the young kids listen, you're going to want to close their ears for just this list. These 2 lists. 10 reasons sex is the greatest thing in the world. Number 1, it is mysterious. Number 2, it is unpredictable. Number 3, it is powerful. Number 4, it feels good. Number 5, achieving an orgasm is superhuman. Number 6, providing someone else with an orgasm is enormously empowering. Number 7, mutual attraction is magical. Number 8, when it's good, it makes world peace seem possible. Number 9, it makes you feel young. Number 10, it burns calories. 10 things that go wrong during sex. A Tinder notification. The dick slips out and painfully rams her crotch, and she says, ouch. He achieves orgasm, she does not, refuses to fake it, and after a while he just stops, dejected. Someone knocks on the door. That's number 4. Number 5, someone farts. Number 6, the vagina farts. It's always the dick's fault. Number 7, a leg cramp. Number 8, you gotta pee. Number 9, you or your partner dies. Number 10, the dog decides to join you. That's what happens sometimes. That makes it hilarious, but still the reason most of us keep breathing and living. There are, however, some purposeful, pragmatic steps to take to increase your odds of both having a safe and fulfilling life. Number 1, trust nobody, not even yourself. Of course, most of us have at least a handful of people we can trust. Number 2, masturbate a lot. Since Adam and Eve, nobody has been killed because their left hand got into a love triangle with their right hand. Number 3, when you decide to have sex with an actual person, be choosy. Not physically per se, but emotionally, psychologically, and spiritually. Number 4, if you're a night owl who cannot enjoy your life unless you are out at the bars and clubs until the sun rises, then at least carry mace and stay one drink shy of blacking out. And number 5, enjoy being with those who most enjoy being with you. Moving right along. It never hurts any less. Sounds great in theory, but the psychology of it usually unfolds like this in terms of marriage being a beautiful concept. Number 1, just as the relationship is intensifying and the sex is still wild and explosive, an unspoken expectation of a marriage proposal lingers just below the surface. Number 2, once a proposal is given and accepted, a cosmic burst of palpable energy and excitement emerges, giving both lovers the impression they have found that love potion number 9, that elusive magical elixir, which, like after taking a sip from the fountain of youth, ensures not only their love is guaranteed to last forever, but that they'll never lose the intensity of their passion and will never be attracted to another person. Number 3, marriage is the fantasy that is supposed to keep on giving for life. Number 4, and for a while, in the ecstatic dreamlike fog of wedding invitations, dresses, tuxedos, sharing and spreading the good news, the marriage fantasy holds. Number 5, as the blessed day approaches, there may be a flash of cold feet or jitters, but the excitement overrides it. Marriage is going to save everything. Number 6, the honeymoon and consequent honeymoon phase lasts a few months, perhaps a year, and then the reality of life sneaks in. Number 7, the habits that were once cute and endearing become grating and irritating. Number 8, your financial, political, emotional, and religious compatibility slips or fades or changes. Number 9, you feel unable to breathe. And number 10, marriage is not there to save you. As sweet as the wedding photos and as legally binding as the marriage document, it is often easier to re-glue Humpty Dumpty than reignite the spirit of invincibility you both swore would never die. And last, but not least, right here, Ocala, Florida, our last list, wouldn't it be easier for someone to say to you, you don't need to buy me 3 dinners and pretend like you care about my life. I'm willing to make love to you because you turn me on. Well, here's a few solutions in different environments that may play into that concept. Number 1, sex clubs. Traditional nightclubs are messy and dangerous. Nobody knows who came with whom. If a man is talking to a woman and you interrupt, you take the chance of starting a fight. But it's entirely possible that the man or woman who you made eye contact with wants you to make a move, but is either afraid or with someone else in the moment. What if there was a place where you could only go alone and could only talk to the staff of the club who wore masks so they themselves would be off limits? You would interact with the club staff and your interactions would be videotaped, analyzed, and presented to other club goers in a methodical manner. After an hour or so, you'd be presented with a list of other club goers who find you physically and emotionally attractive. You would then select from that menu of options and get to know, have a drink, dance with your predetermined sex mates. Of course, nothing is guaranteed, but there would be no uncertainty of either person's intentions or desires. At any time, you could go off somewhere, perhaps to attached rooms, and enjoy each other. Many might be saying that's what Tinder and Grindr are for. You swipe, meet, and have sex. Indeed, that's what happens with regularity with those apps, but many misrepresent themselves on these apps with older Photoshop pictures, and even if reality matches their profile, there is a real danger to opening your home to a stranger with no real vetting or knowledge of their background. As an in-person sex club would be, they'd offer a streamlined pathway to sex with some added safety and security. By the way, if there's any really wealthy folks who want to spare a few million or more, this might be a viable business plan. I'm willing to write the business plan up and implement it. Number 2, smartphone tracking free spaces. Here you arrive at a huge parking lot. You leave all technology in your car. You go through a checkpoint where you strip naked and are given a full-body x-ray where it's 100% determined you are untraceable and secured video is taken. You're issued a golf cart and drive to an undisclosed cabin. In this cabin, there is a monitor with several choices of people who wish to have sex with you. You select the one you wish to meet. That person arrives at your cabin. You do what you are going to do together. There are safe words that will trigger security to break things up, but you agree the affair will remain private with no technological way to expose it. After the liaison, you go through several protected checkpoints and eventually end up back to the original parking lot. There is no possible evidence of the affair. This is a way of going back before technology. A few of my podcasts discuss the fact that because we're being surveilled all the time with video and audio and our phones listening to us and Alexa's listening to us and there's hidden cameras everywhere, the notion of privacy is gone, and pretty soon people are going to have a business where they guarantee some sense of privacy that's going to become valued for many people. Number 3, legal prostitution. Straight up sex for money in a regulated legal manner. In this scenario, everyone is, in fact, there are some places where this happens. Everyone is tested for STDs, rules are explained and enforced, a menu of options are provided. If nobody gets hurt or abused, if a lonely soul wants to spend their paycheck to slide his penis in and out of a willing woman's vagina or buttocks, what's the harm? Law enforcement has better things to do and real criminals to catch. Thank you very much for listening to these lists. Again, I want to be clear. I do believe in love. I do believe in eternal love. I do believe in everlasting life. I do believe that energy once created is never destroyed. Right here in Ocala, Florida. And oh, what a day it is. Bye-bye, everybody.